Ladies and gentlemen, you clicked on this video because you want to make $10,000 per month as a student. While your friends are struggling with minimum wage jobs, imagine having the freedom to travel, live life on your own terms, and invest all the money that you make all before you graduate college. It may sound impossible, but I promise you it's not. The only issue is that most gurus online make it seem way easier than it actually is. The internet nowadays is flooded with get-rich-quick schemes promising overnight success. They'll tell you to start dropshipping and you'll make $50K in a month. They'll say trade crypto for just 30 minutes a day and you'll be able to drop out of school and become a millionaire. It's all garbage designed to sell you courses that will never deliver you true success. Today, I'm cutting through all the noise, no fluff, no empty promises, just the 3 essential components that you need to focus on to legitimately achieve $10,000 per month as a student. This isn't theory, these are proven strategies that actually work when applied consistently. And fair warning, none of them are overnight solutions, but all of them actually work. Firstly, I want to be transparent. Making $10,000 per month is actually possible, and many successful entrepreneurs have achieved this at the age of 18. But these cases are not typical, and I want to be extremely clear about what it actually takes to get there. The first critical component to achieving 10K per month is selecting the right business model. You need an opportunity that has excessive potential but doesn't expose you to too much risk. Now let me start by telling you exactly what to avoid. First off, you have to stay away from trading. Many trading platforms and influencers only make money when you lose money. They're literally incentivizing you for failure. Even with $1,000 starting capital, turning that into 15 to 20K per year requires an extremely high success rate that's very unlikely for beginner entrepreneurs. Instead, I recommend focusing on service-based businesses. And these businesses, they offer several key advantages. For example, you could build a business around helping other companies with their social media marketing needs. Now, let me break down a few specific services that are working right now. Content creation nowadays is an extreme goldmine. Brands nowadays need constant content distribution, whether it's blog posts, video scripts, or email newsletters. Good writing nowadays is surprisingly rare, and businesses struggle to find reliable content creators. As a student, you're probably already writing essays and assignments regularly. This is just redirecting those skills to make you tons of money. Starting rates might be $100 to $300 an article, but experienced content creators demand at least $500 per piece. Additionally, Google ads and Facebook ads are extremely lucrative as well. And if you're wondering why, it's because it's directly tied to the business's revenue. If a business spends $5,000 on ads and you help them make $20,000 in sales, they'll happily pay you $3 to $5K a month for that specific service. And unlike creative services where feedback can be extremely subjective, ad performance is measured in hard numbers. And this makes it way easier to prove your value. And the best thing about these service models is that you can start with zero overhead. You don't need inventory, you don't need an office space, and you don't really need expensive equipment. All you truly need is your laptop, your high-income skills, and your time. Another excellent service that you can provide is specialized consulting. This is perfect if you have expertise in something that businesses truly value. Ask yourself these questions. What's your major? What are you truly good at? There's probably an angle you can definitely take there. For example, computer data science majors can offer web development or just help companies implement better data systems. Finance or accounting students could help businesses with their financial planning or tax preparation. Psychology students can consult on user experience or consumer behavior. Even English literature students can position themselves as storytelling consultants for big brands. Whatever your area of study is, there are definitely businesses out there that are willing to pay you thousands and thousands of dollars for your expertise. The key is simply to position yourself as a specialist rather than a generalist. And this immediately justifies higher rate. What's important is that your service delivers exceptional value to your clients or incorporates leverage. Now, what do I mean by leverage? Allow me to break this down because this is exactly what you need to understand to break past 50K per month. Leverage means setting up systems where you're not trading your time for money in a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, there are several types of leverage, but for students, I recommend starting with team leverage. Now, here's a real life example. Let's say you start a business creating custom thumbnails for YouTube creators. A single thumbnail might sell for $30 to maybe $50, which honestly isn't that much money. But the demand is extremely enormous because if you think about it, there are hundreds of thousands of YouTube creators posting daily and they all need extraordinary thumbnails. Now, you could handle everything yourself, creating maybe 5 to 7 thumbnails daily, but you'd honestly cap out around $250 per day. Now, that is your income ceiling without any leverage. What if instead you found talented YouTube thumbnail designers with lower cost of living? Places like the Philippines, India, Pakistan, Amazon, or even European countries. You could pay these guys $500 to $900 monthly, and each designer that you have on your team could design 10 thumbnails daily, and these guys could generate you $5,000 to $6,000 in monthly recurring revenue. With 3 designers, that's potentially $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue with only $2,700 in expenses just to pay out your team. Now, suddenly, you're not just a thumbnail designer, you're running a thumbnail design agency. Your role shifts from creating every single thumbnail design yourself to quality control and overseeing your team. Now you get to focus on client relationships and developing your actual business. Now, this same model works for virtually any online service. For example, copywriting, video editing, social media management, web development, or even virtual assistants. The key is standardizing your processes, creating clear guidelines, and putting quality control measures in place. You might start as a solopreneur making $3 to $4K monthly, but in order to scale to $10,000 per month, you'll likely need to incorporate this type of leverage. Yeah, you might make slightly smaller margins per project, but you will increase your overall volume and total profit. Now remember, the business model that gets you to 10K per month will not necessarily make you $100 million, and that's completely fine. All you have to focus on right now is choosing the right vehicle for your current stage. Now, the second essential component is establishing realistic timelines. Social media nowadays has distorted our perception of success. 20 years ago, a 21-year-old kid making $4 to $5K a month would be extremely extraordinary. In today's day and age with social media, that same person at 21 making $4 to $5K per month will probably not be that satisfied because they see tons of people online making 10 to 15, even 20K a month. Now, allow me to paint a realistic picture of that timeline. Most successful young entrepreneurs start with extremely modest side hustles. Now, we're talking about making just a couple $100s a month, barely enough to afford groceries or textbooks. They're delivering value to a handful of clients, working through mistakes and refining their process. By month 3 or 4, they may or may not reach 1 to 2K per month. And if I'm being completely real, it's around the 6-month period when things finally start to click. Systems are becoming way more efficient, referrals are finally beginning to kick in, and maybe they finally identify their highest value service and they begin focusing on solely that. At the 1-year mark, they've typically built enough of a reputation to hit around 5 to 8K per month, and this is honestly life-changing for most students because it's way more than the average 9-to-5er even makes. And then after about a year and a half, majority of people finally break through that 10K per month ceiling. Now, I want you to keep in mind this is not a sprint. This is a marathon that requires extreme dedication. These students are simultaneously juggling full course loads, writing essays, going to class, sometimes even working part-time jobs. They're sacrificing weekends, holidays, going out with their friends to focus on the long-term goal and the vision. While friends are out there partying on Friday nights, they're responding to client emails, hopping on client calls, and planning their content calendar for the following week. Their spring breaks aren't spent overseas in Cancun. They're invested in launching their new service offerings or refining their onboarding process. But here is the beautiful part. The sacrifice is temporary. The systems and skills they build throughout this phase will create financial freedom for years to come. Freedom that their peers who follow the traditional path may never experience in their entire lives. Now, will it take you a couple years? Probably not. The internet has evolved significantly within the past few years with better tools, better resources, better payment processors, and better learning resources available for beginners. But even if it does take you a couple years, that's completely normal and more than acceptable. I want you to set your expectations in terms of years and not months. Now, if you achieve your goals faster, that's extremely wonderful. But by preparing for a longer journey, you won't become discouraged when facing inevitable plateaus. Nowadays, most business growth follows a pattern. Initial progress, then a long plateau where you wonder if you will ever advance further. Then suddenly a massive breakthrough, followed by another plateau. There's a lot of stabilization between growth spurts. Now, the third and final component that most people don't really consider is keeping and maintaining that 10K per month consistently. Reaching 10K per month is honestly not hard nowadays. The hard thing is actually maintaining that recurring $10,000 per month for your business. And this is also where wealth building truly starts. You want to make 10K per month your financial basis. You want this to be the minimal acceptable amount for your financial income. And this doesn't mean the level that you're aiming for. It means a level below which you feel fundamentally uncomfortable. For many successful entrepreneurs at a young age, their baseline might just be about $1,000 to $1,500 per month, month as a student. That baseline typically evolves. First, you start off at $1,500, then $3K, then $5K, then $10K, and eventually it'll grow bigger and bigger as time goes on. And once you establish $10,000 per month as your steady baseline, you can definitely increase that from there on out. Now, the key to maintaining and growing your income is approaching wealth like old money does, not new money. Now, let me explain the difference because it is fundamental for your success. New money buys liabilities that depreciate. Old money acquires assets that appreciate. When you start making serious money at a young age, there's almost an irresistible temptation that forces you to level up your lifestyle. The luxury apartment, the sports car, or even the supercar, all the crazy watches, all the things that you see influencers nowadays flexing on social media. And this is precisely how former athletes and people in the entertainment business make millions but lose all of their money. These guys you see on TV, they'll build lifestyles that require high amounts of money to maintain, but they won't build assets that generate passive income. Instead, study the habits of generational wealth. People who follow this live below their means, not at or above them. They allocate significant proportions of their income to appreciating assets, whether that's income producing real estate, index funds, or reinvesting into their business to create additional revenue streams. I personally recommend following the 50-30-20 rule when hitting your first $10,000 month. 50% will go to necessary expenses and reasonable lifestyle improvements. And yes, I mean moving out of that dorm room, eat healthier foods, and definitely buy better clothes, but obviously make sure to keep it sensible. 30% will get reinvested back into the business to fuel your growth, better equipment, software, or hiring more team members, and 20% goes into long-term investments and building wealth. And this will be your legacy fund. You can start simple with the S&P 500. Now, with that being said, let me leave you with some practical first steps to get started today. First, I want you to conduct a thorough self-inventory. Ask yourself, what skills do you already have that businesses would definitely pay for? What do you application? What do people constantly reach out to you for help with? Once you answer these questions, these answers will point you to your initial service offering. Second, you need to create a minimal viable product. I don't want you to try to offer everything to everyone. I want you to focus on picking one specific problem that you could offer to a target market. And the more you narrow your focus, the more you will accelerate your progress. And third, set specific, measurable weekly goals, not just target incomes. In the beginning, you should focus on outreach metrics, sending 10 personalized pitches daily minimum, reaching out to 5 potential clients on LinkedIn daily, and creating 3 pieces of content that showcase your expertise. And fourth, you've got to find ways that make you stand out immediately. Create a case study solving the exact problem that your clients are currently facing, even if you have to do it for free initially. Having concrete results to show is worth way more than hypothetical promises. And finally, establish systems from day one. Document your processes, create templates, and think about how each part of your workflow could eventually be outsourced to a team member. This makes the transition to a leveraged business model way smoother later on. Remember that choosing the right business model, setting realistic timelines, and focusing on sustainability are the 3 pillars that will help you achieve and maintain 10K per month consistently. With dedication, persistence, and the right approach, this is more than possible as a student. The journey requires sacrifice and discipline, but the freedom it creates is incomparable. While most of your friends will graduate and immediately enter the corporate hamster wheel, you'll have built a wealth-generating asset that gives you a life that most people can't even dream of. Whether you choose to scale your business further, use it to fund other ventures, or simply enjoying the freedom to work where and whenever you want, the skills and mindset you develop on this journey will pay you dividends for years and years to come. Your future self will thank you for starting today. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Peace.